Welcome to the Way Left podcast. This is the new one here. Reminder on YouTube at the Way Left BV, the Way Left. We have shorts, full-length episodes on there. Follow, get out there, make comments, good or bad. Check it out. Also on Spotify, the Way Left. All the episodes are out there. So got the website, thewayleft.com, blogs, some simple blogs, lots of books to read, some short snippets of podcasts. Go out there, like, dislike, follow, unfollow, whatever you want to do. Just a reminder, go out there, YouTube, website, and Spotify. Not on Instagram or TikTok or Reels. They do the shorts on YouTube. I think that's good for now. Let's kick this off. I'm not even sure what I'm going to call this one. I think I'm going to call this one The Orange Mad Kings World War III. Where do we stand? So let me read you a quote from June 2025. Donald Trump claimed, again, the Orange Mad King, I like that now, or the Orange Ass Clown. I invariably say Donald Trump, but in case you don't know who Donald Trump is, he's the Orange Ass Clown or the Orange Mad King of the United States. Donald Trump claimed that U.S. and Israeli strikes, this is June of 2025, obliterated Iran's nuclear program at Natanz Fordo and Isfahan. He stated Iran had no nuclear capability left and their military was knocked out, aiming to prevent them from obtaining a nuclear weapon. So this is less than a year ago, and this is from White House Gov. So I just wanted to read that to you. It's gone. The nuclear program is gone in June of 2025. That was called the 12-Day War. It was Israel and the U.S. bombing the shit out of nuclear sites, kind of preconceived, told Iranians sent a few drones. It was over. We destroyed the nuclear program. So let's kind of talk about how we got here, right? Why are we so worried? We know, let's come to one equivalence right away. One equivalence is that Iran is a sponsor of terrorism. They have terrible leadership. There is an Islamic Republic who believes in the death of Israel and the death of the U.S. There are a lot of reasons for that, which I've gone into: the coup, backing Iraq during the Iraq-Iran war, a lot of reasons. But current state, Iran's leadership, their theocracy, they're a death cult. And we try to monitor and keep track of groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis and things worldwide. That's fine. That's being said. But over time, we've tried to mitigate their impact. So there is a document you've probably heard of. It's called the JCPOA. It's the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. In 2015, an agreement between Iran and USA, UK, France, China, Russia, and Germany. Very powerful countries. Russia and China were included. Designed to ensure a peaceful nuclear program. Iran agreed to restrict uranium enrichment and centrifuge operation in exchange for relief from international sanctions, limited international sanctions with International Atomic Energy Agency verification. So the IAEA was allowed to go inspect. The nuclear restrictions. Iran agreed to reduce its stockpile of enriched uranium by 98%, limit enrichment levels to 3.6%, and cap the number of operational centrifuges for over a decade. We gave them sanctions relief really related to oil. The IAEA was granted access to monitor compliance at Iranian facilities. So guess what happened when Trump came in? Now, this was going pretty well. This doesn't mean we remediated everything, right? This doesn't mean that the Islamic Republic became nice guys. Did they still do bad shit? Yes. Does North Korea do bad shit? Yes. Outside their country? Yes. Does Russia do bad shit outside their country? Yes. Does China do bad shit outside their country? Yes. Are they as bad as Iran? Well, Now I think you could say Russia's the worst. They've killed more of their own people and Ukrainians than Iran's killed since 1953. So let's be clear on that. But Donald Trump comes in 2016. 2017 comes in, and he rips up the JCPOA, rips it up, says it's terrible. Doesn't try to modify it, doesn't try to extend it, doesn't try to do any diplomacy. He rips it up. So guess what Iran does? Now this agreement's no longer in place. They actually do start to enrich uranium, and they start to do other things that we would not be down with as a democracy or as a liberal Western world. Are we shocked by that? So the precipitation to the agreements that we were talking about in 2025, now remember, we were negotiating with them, and then we bombed them in the 12-day war, and Trump told us that it's over. The nuclear stockpile's done. They can't build nuclear weapons. The precursor to this is he ripped up the JCPOA. He demonized an already demon country. And guess who was all complicit with this? Benjamin Netanyahu. So again, I am not a supporter of Benjamin Netanyahu, and I'm not a supporter of the Israeli government. I am not an anti-Semitic, and I also believe that Israel should have their own country. Do I believe that I am a Zionist? No, but I believe that they should have a homeland. I don't believe in a lot of things they're doing in the West Bank in terms of settlements and some of the actions, a lot of the actions they've taken against the Palestinians. That being said, just so you know, I'm sure Netanyahu was on board, pushed this to Trump, or at least talked to Trump about this. They rip up the JCPOA, and here we are, 2025. We have the 12-day war. Everybody kind of agrees it's a good thing. And guess what? Guess what happened? So let's talk about a few other things. Gas price. January of 2025, $3.06. January of 2026, $2.83. Good. We've taken 8% off the cost. It's awesome. March of 2026, $3.90. So it's up. I mean, in Donald Trump's world, that's like 7,000%. But if we go from $3 to $3.90, we can call that, let's just call it 25 to 30% up since before and after. So now in late February, now we're negotiating. Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, the Zionist extreme negotiators. Witkoff, a real estate developer. Jared Kushner, the son of a felon who's been pardoned and now is the ambassador of France and doesn't even work for our government, making deals in the Middle East. And they're negotiating a contract, negotiating basically a new JCPOA with Iran. And Iran's doing this, and Oman's right there. Oman is another country in the Middle East, and everything's going well. And guess what happens? We fucking bomb Iran. And on the first day, we blew up a fucking kids' school because our maps weren't updated. We didn't do it on purpose. We never admitted to it, of course, because that's not how Trump works, or the orange ass clown, or the orange Mad King, or Pete Hegseth, the white supremacist. We don't admit to it. We said they might have done it, blah, blah, blah. We went over this in the previous episode. I'm going to get to the World War III part, but let's just see what's happening here with this Christian nationalist authoritarian fucking nutcase, the Orange Mad King. So gas prices are up. Okay? It's not good. We're not energy independent because oil prices are based on a global market. So even if you have energy independence, the prices are based on the global market. So you might have access to it. You might not have lines at gas stations, but you're going to pay $4 to $6 a gallon at the pump, okay? Without alternative energy sources, because the orange ass clowns, Heritage Foundation, climate hoax people are now taking away windmills, solar panels, anything else that we could truly create some sort of energy independence that wouldn't be affected by global markets because we would have the electricity grid here. That being said, what is this leading to? Job market sucks. Since Trump come in, basically, we've added no new net jobs, okay? People are holding on to their jobs. Gas prices are up. What else gets affected? The farmers, last year, they had a 50% bankruptcy rate. Why? Because we put in tariffs. What does this lead to, okay? What is this quasi-World War III leading to? Same things it always leads to. Bad economy, and worse, stagflation.
Stagflation is an economic condition combining slow growth, so we're not adding new jobs. High unemployment. Our unemployment isn't ridiculous, but for those trying to enter the market, it's hard to get jobs. And for those trying to find a new job, they won't leave their old job. So it's not great. And high inflation. Gas prices going up. We have fertilizer problems coming from the Middle East. We have helium problems coming from the Middle East. So high inflation. It is a rare economic nightmare that defies traditional economic theory, where inflation usually rises during boom times. Means lots of jobs, everybody's getting a job, growth is out of control. And so that's why you raise interest rates when the economy is booming, so you can kind of bring it back so inflation doesn't go out of control. But we have an economic nightmare here. Inflation is out of control, but we don't have a booming economy. It is often caused by negative supply shocks like tariffs and oil crisis, or poor policy decisions, tariffs. Famously occurring in the 70s and causing recent concerns in 2025-26 tariffs. So we have the tariffs, which we're paying, which makes things more expensive, putting a hindrance on the global market. And now we have increased gas prices. So here we are. Now, Trump always talks about the Dow. Pam Bondi said, we don't need to worry about who raped the girls in the Epstein files. We don't need to prosecute them because the Dow's at 50,000. Well, where's the Dow now? Dow Jones Industrial Average. And so just remember, I think it's 85% of the stocks are owned by the top 10%. So this is not an indication of how everybody's doing. It's a good indication of how everybody in the top 10% are doing. The Dow in January 25 was 44,000. It's good. The Dow in January 26 was 49,000, and then soon after it went to 50,000. The Dow now is at like 46, 45. So there's your Dow that's going down. This adds to the stagflation. And now Trump is pushing for interest rates to go down because the economy is booming. He actually said when we have the Strait of Hormuz problem that we're going to make a ton of money off this because oil prices are going to go up and we're energy independent. Yeah. Well, the oil magnates are going to make a lot of money, but the rest of us are fucked. And if it stays above 100 or goes to $200 a barrel, we're talking $5 to $7 a gallon. Okay. So that's an introduction to that, right? And I'm throwing in a lot of economic factors because I want to, yeah. So let's talk about, when I say World War III, World War III's conflict is not necessarily the nuclear war that we see on Terminator, right? It's how many countries are involved and how many countries is the greatest power, military power, we think, in the U.S. threatening or has threatened or is about to threaten. So the countries and territories hit, targeted, or suffering casualties from the BBC from Iranian-backed missiles and drones include Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia. So that's 5, 2, 4, Qatar, Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, Oman, and now we think Cyprus. So that's 11, plus Israel, plus our U.S. bases. So we have 13 involved. 13 countries involved, and basically the whole Strait of Hormuz and the Middle East, where 20% of the world's oil supply and 30 to 40% of the world's urea for fertilizers is based out of. Now, a couple weeks ago, Trump said the war was over, we've decimated. Now we're shipping 4,000 troops to basically take over what's called the island of Karg, which is where Iran does all of its oil, to send oil out Strait of Hormuz. So we have 13 countries involved. So it's kind of a quasi-world war, more of a focused world war. If we bring in Putin and Ukraine, we've talked about this before, Iran. So we've taken the embargoes. The U.S. has taken the embargoes off of Russia because they invaded Ukraine and are killing hundreds of thousands to millions of people. Russia is helping Iran target our sites, and Donald Trump said it was okay because we were helping Ukraine. So it's okay that his buddy Putin, who he flew out to Alaska on U.S. soil and rolled out a red carpet for a murderous dictator, we're going to get rid of the oil embargoes on them so that they can make more money because the gas prices have skyrocketed. The oil cost of oil per barrel skyrocketed. So now that Russia can support their war against Ukraine even better. So there's 2 more countries. So that's 15. We got Russia and Ukraine involved. So we've got 15 countries. China, now, so through the Strait of Hormuz, what are they doing? Iran's letting some oil through. So what is Iran doing? It's only like a 25-mile strait. It's not very big. You put in landmine, you put in water mines. Well, guess what we did in January of 2026? We took all our landmine ships out of the Middle East and moved them to America. So we don't have those type of ships that basically deter or destroy the landmines, the water mines, landmines, where they'll blow up ships. So Iran is hitting not only other targets, but they're basically shooting at ships. But Iran will let Chinese, so non-U.S. related entities to go through. The Chinese have made a deal. So they're getting their oil at a higher price. They're getting their oil. Okay. They're letting Russian oil through. Now we're saying we're going to take the embargo off Iran because we're going to let Iran make money off the oil to be involved. So this is the murderous dictator, Islamic State that we're going to support for the oil because we fucked up the market so bad. Right? So that oil's getting through. Our oil isn't getting through. Any oil that would be going to U.S. type related. So we've basically put a barrier on, the biggest stream of energy and fertilizer in the world because so remember, this was a threat that they were going to build nuclear weapons, even though we destroyed the nuclear weapons in June of 2025. But now in March of 2026, it's less than a year later, we're going to do a deal with them. But while we're doing the deal, we're going to fucking bomb them and kill them and accidentally kill a bunch of schoolgirls and teachers, up to 200. We're going to bomb the shit out of people. And then we bitch about them bombing us back. And that's our solution. But now we're fucked. Because now what Iran's saying is this is existential. We are not going to stop. There is no deal on the table. You've made deals with us. You back out on deals with us. We know we're a bad country, but play ball with us just like you play ball with China. So worried about human beings getting suffering. What about the Uyghurs in China? What about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine? What about what's going on in Belarus? So we've picked it because partly we're partners with Iran. Partly they're supposedly the biggest terrorist state. Let's just say they are. And what we're going to do is we're going to take out the Ayatollah, and then his son's going to be in place, and he's more hard right, and now he wants to build the nuclear weapon. So that's our plan. So it's costing us $1.5 billion a day to be in this world war. Let's call it a small Orange Mad Kings celebrate bombing other countries, even though he promised that he wouldn't do this. He talked shit about other presidents that did this. He's doing the exact opposite. Nobody that didn't vote for him is surprised, but there are people in MAGA. There's Mark Kelly, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson going off the rails. They can't believe he's doing this. I go, you can believe anything he does. Today he ripped on Robert Mueller and said he's glad he's dead. But when people from the left said, hey, Charlie Kirk, who said a lot of racist things and a lot of bad things, if anybody said anything bad about them, the U.S. government would come after us. That's the world we live in. That's World War III type quasi-authoritarianism. Okay. So, a little hyped up, got a good shot of espresso in. So, we have 15 to 20 countries involved. $1.5 billion a day. So let's say we've been there 20 days. We spent $30 billion. $30 billion. Huge number. $1.5 billion a day at least to be in that conflict as it stands right now. Now we're sending Marines and other personnel, up to 4,000 people over. I don't know what we're going to do with them. So now you might have a ground invasion of some sort. Pete Hegseth, the white supremacist, idiot, fox clown, maybe the dumbest Secretary of War, Department of Defense person ever. They have fired a bunch of their staff that was related to Iran intelligence because supposedly they were involved with Mar-a-Lago when Trump took fucking top secret files and showed them off to people in Mar-a-Lago, and justifiably they came in. They got rid of those people, so they don't have the staff or the intelligence. They have Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, who are just there to do business deals. They want $200 billion. $200 billion. Now, let's remember that our budget that got approved through the big, beautiful, fucked up bill that gives money to the fucking rich, starves the poor, and gets rid of health care is already $1 trillion. They can't make do with the $1 trillion. They need another $200 billion. So how long is that? So if it's let's say $1.5 billion a day, right? If we give them $200 billion, right? That's about at $1.5 billion a day. If we divide that in, we got what, 100 to 150 more days. So we're going to be there another 2-3 months. And then Pete Hegseth even said we might need more. So what does $200 billion pay for? There's some conservative estimates out there, and this isn't for a full blow, but here's some numbers. Universal health care for all Americans, a basic, right? Universal health care. I'm not talking that you got the privatized plan, the private plan that allows you to fucking, not high roller, a good basic universal health care, $80 billion. College for everybody at a baseline. Obviously, if you want to go to fucking Harvard, you're not going to get the full money. Baseline college education, $50 billion. Universal child care, $30 billion. So let's just say that $200 billion could be used for universal health care, universal college, and universal child care for Americans. But we need it for another 100 days to fight a war that we got. So let's go into the next part of this, because we know we're wasting money. This is a fucking clown show. It is led by the orange-ass clown, and he's being pushed by people like Benjamin Netanyahu, who is got felony convictions waiting for him. Trump has asked for his pardon from the Israeli government. He's corrupt. He's tried to reform the fucking judges, just like Trump's doing, just like Putin did, just like Orban is doing in Hungary. Hopefully he'll lose his election. Okay, so we have all that $200 billion. And so where does that leave us? Right? So we need to get this $200 billion. They're saying we need $200 billion to extend this war. Now, it's not a war. So, got my train of thought back. So let's look at the precursors to this. One, we already talked about June 2025, the 12-day war. We eliminated the nuclear capabilities. Then before this war came out, we were negotiating with Oman for a new JCPOA that may include some things for Hezbollah, Houthis, and Hamas, even though we've supported Qatar and they actually hosted Hamas. But that being said, we know about the quid pro quo. I hope if there was any fucking bombs that hit Qatar, that it hit the $400 million jet that Trump's getting donated by the Qataris. That being said, so what did we do before this? We did not get approval of Congress. So Congress is the only one that could take us to war. We did not get approval from Congress. Donald Trump has bashed NATO. J.D. Vance has bashed NATO. Marco Rubio has bashed NATO. The entire orange-ass clown Orange Mad King's cabinet has bashed NATO, bashed the EU, told Britain to fuck off, said Greenland, and this goes into the World War III thing. What other country we're adding? Greenland. We're going to invade Greenland because we want it. Denmark was ready to blow up all the fucking airfields and sacrifice men so that they couldn't land on it. We called Canada the 51st state. But now Trump is bitching because all those countries don't want to help monitor the Strait of Hormuz. But just so you know, no Navy commander would put his boat out there because you're going to get blown up. You would have to have ground troops. So how are we bitching at that? And Ukraine, who we've spent less than $200 billion on in 4 years, and now they're buying our shit, so that's probably reduced. We're begging for their drones and their technology. Again, Mad fucking King, Orange Mad King. We are going to bash our allies. We have no allies but Israel right now. Or we have quasi-allies. We've bashed our allies, or what were our allies, what were groups that we supported And now we're calling them dicks for not helping us fund a war that they didn't know anything about, that Congress did not approve, and that we don't have funding for. We really do have funding for, because we had $1 trillion. How about you take some of that and redisperse it? No way. We want a bigger military. No taxes on the rich. Fuck you. We don't need health care for all. We don't need college for all. We don't need child care for all. What we need is $200 billion so we can make this war go away. Do we really think it's going to go away? So this is coming from, again, this is coming from the Orange Mad King, who said, we destroyed everything. And now they're saying that Israel said they're under threat, they're building nuclear weapons. It's amazing. So think about how smart Iranians are. Their entire nuclear weaponization and infrastructure was destroyed. And 9 months later, less than 9 months, they have rebuilt it all, and they're within 2 weeks of a bomb. That's according to Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump. So what does it mean? First, it means the two of them are selling you a bunch of fucking lies. That's the first thing. They never destroyed the nuclear program. Never. They hindered, but they didn't do it. They're not willing to negotiate at all. Okay, then you have to commit. They're not willing to deal with Congress or approvals. They're authoritarians, quasi-authoritarians. Israel's been reducing the amount of information that comes out of Israel since October 7th of 2022, which would be the Hamas terrorist attack in Israel. So let's include Palestine included in that. And of course, they're bombing the shit out of Lebanon. We include those countries in there. Who's next? So quasi-World War III. No approvals. Here we are. Trump said that's done in June. It's not done now, and now we're in this conflict. Oil prices are out of control. If this doesn't get remediated within a couple of weeks, we're talking about possibly upwards of $150 to $200 a barrel. But even at $100 a barrel, no good. It's not good for anybody, because people will stop less consuming. So even the rich oligarchs of oil say, hey, that's too high. People will reduce the consumption. They might turn to, God forbid, electric vehicles. So they even say, hey, we're going to make all these profits, but then we may not get consumption we want. So no matter what the oil price is, we'll lose. We all lose. So back to the World War III concept, right? Include the whole world. We're going to do everything in here. Trump says he could do whatever he wants with Cuba. Floats idea of taking the island. The president can't commit to war. He took out Maduro. It's not really helping anybody inside Venezuela. We got better oil deal there. That was illegal, Caesar. But okay. You took out a bad guy. You took out the Ayatollah Khamenei, whichever, and now his son's in leadership, so he didn't do a good job there. You thought you could do the Maduro thing in Iran, except Iran is 92 million people. It's bigger than Ukraine. It's mountainous, and they've got 5 or 7 different sects within their fucking country. And they have an IRGC that's like the IDF from Israel, but, it's okay. So this guy, the Orange Mad King, Trump says he can do whatever he wants. Okay, this is from NPR. Says, Cuba right now is in very bad shape. They're talking to Marco, and we'll be doing something with Cuba very soon. So let's think about Cuba. Cuba, reminder, in the 60s, Castro did a coup. Guess who he did a coup against? It's very similar to Iran. Because Iran in 1953, we took out the democratically elected leader and put in the Shah, who was a dictator. We did the same thing to Cuba back in the 50s, put in a dictator who allowed business to come in, and Castro said, fuck this, and came in and took over. And then Castro worked with the Russians, and then we had the Bay of Pigs, and then we almost had real World War III with nuclear weapons back in the 60s. It's calm. Cuba's not a terrorist state. I'm not saying that the people that run it aren't pieces of shit. The communist agenda, which is turned into an authoritarian agenda, which is where you go on the U-shape. If you go communist, you might as well go authoritarianism. If you go fascism, you're authoritarianism. Totalitarianism, dictatorship, no rights, no liberalism. So there's an interview with Rubio. The bottom line is their economy doesn't work. It's a non-functional economy. You know why it's a non-functional economy? Because we have embargoes. They're not allowed to do business with anybody. They were doing business with Venezuela illegally, but we took out that, so we take it that way. It's an economy that has survived. That's for 40, that revolution. It's not even a revolution. The thing they have has survived on subsidies from Soviet Union and now from Venezuela. Oh, because we didn't agree with the takeover, and so we're going to starve them out, and we forced the hand. How many times have we talked about Cuban terrorists? Zero? But again, World War. We're going to take out Cuba. Trump has talked very nostalgically about Cuba recently. He even had Trump Havana as a patent. This is a big deal in South Florida, and Trump also has friends and advisors who care about Cuba. So again, there are bad people everywhere. But we're supposed to be the soft power kind of influencer. But what we've become, and maybe what we already were, or what we have always been, is a fucking imperialist fucking dictator. And Trump and Rubio and fucking Hegseth and every one of these people have taken it on steroids. So again, now Cuba's included, because we might go into Cuba too. So we've done Venezuela, we got Cuba. That's two more to our list. What are we about? 15 to 17 countries. We've done something in Ecuador. Are we having fun yet? This is the Orange Mad Kings World War III. We have all the things lined up. We can't get out of fucking Iran. $1.5 billion a day. Our economy's tanking, just like we knew it would. Not tanking, stagflation. And now we want to spend more money to increase the debt. Trump's increasing the debt at a rate of, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's $2 trillion a year. It was on track to do $4 trillion. Now it's at $2 trillion because he's spending so much money on this. And then he takes out Kristi Noem and puts Mark Wayne Mullen, who said he's never the smartest person in a room. The guy was a former fought 3 MMA fights, threatened a guy in the Senate, praised a neighbor for beating up Rand Paul. And this is the guy that's going to be the head of DHS, which is basically the U.S.'s version of the Gestapo and ICE. So now, let me throw another country in there. We have Ecuador. So let's say we're 15 to 20. Within some sort of quasi-relationship where we're using military or dark military facilities, men, weapons around the world. The DEA names Colombian president priority target as U.S. prosecutor probes ties to drug traffickers. So the Colombian president is on the leftist. They don't like him. They don't like the drugs there. I get it. We're not going to negotiate. We're going to accuse him of this, whether he's guilty or not. And this is after we just pardoned the former Honduran president, who might have been the biggest cocaine trafficker in the world and was prosecuted under Trump initially. And then somebody made a quid pro quo deal and we let him go. Now we're going after Colombia. Yep, that's the U.S. That's from the president said, no foreign wars, no foreign invasions. I'm a protectionist. I'm an isolationist. I'm a tariff guy. No, he's everything. It's what's in the wind today. Except we can't have a wind turbine because those are bad. So lastly, where else does this lead? So we're abandoning South Korea because we took weapons from there, semi-abandoning a country that it's about $250 billion that we do deals with. What do you think China is thinking about Taiwan? What do you think? Let's see. They're using up all their munitions. We're helping Iran. We're getting our oil. Russia's oil's up, and they're kind of like a proxy for Ukraine. So they're taking up Europe. And we're doing all sorts of naval drills around Taiwan. We offered Taiwan a deal. They didn't take it. Of course, it was the Hong Kong deal where we're going to come in and take away your democracy. But we would give global security. Well, we've seen what happens in Hong Kong. They're under an authoritarian regime. China's just waiting. I hate to say it, but if China really wants Taiwan, now's not a bad time. Now the global markets would be fucked. But who are we really assisting? Now, the overall goal is to get rid of the bad guys before they get nuclear weapons. They don't have a plan for that. The overall goal now for everybody, including what we would consider allies like Poland and Germany and South Korea and Japan, is to get nuclear weapons. This is quasi-World War III because of the Orange Mad King and because of people like Benjamin Netanyahu. So the argument is that Israel has to protect themselves. I totally agree. They have to get rid of everybody that's bad, all the death cults, they call them, all the terrorist groups. Well, I guess we're in on that. And do we think this is going to go away? Do you think this is going to go away? Do you think there isn't going to be more attacks on the U.S. bases? Unless we put in a Iraq type event. So let's remember what they said in Iraq, right? Donald Rumsfeld said it would take 2 weeks. We were there for 16 years? Maybe less than that. Let's call it 10. I don't remember the number. 10 to 16, whatever it was. We didn't get the government we wanted. Now, they have sectarian issues, and they're still kind of a threat to Israel. It's better than Saddam, but it costs us trillions of dollars. The oil kind of flows, but I wouldn't call that a win. It sure in the fuck probably wasn't a win for some of the people in Iraq. But okay, let's call it a win, even though it was based on false premises and lies, WMDs, and people should have been prosecuted for that, including Dick Cheney, including George Bush, and including Colin Powell, who I respected and lost respect. I was against the Iraq War. I was for a quasi-Afghanistan entry to take out to move the Taliban or hurt the Taliban and get Osama bin Laden. Both turned into quagmires. This is the next one. But we can't afford health care, and we can't afford fucking colleges. We can't afford child care. We can't afford a minimum wage of $25 an hour federally, which is still at $7.25, and some states can run as low as $5.15. That's $10,000 to $15,000 a year, not a livable wage. Everybody knows that. Republican senators and representatives have even said that. But what we can't afford is to be the world's dictator, imperialist, and to have these wars, and to have these invasions, and to have these country buildups. But let me tell you what Iran is. Iran is not Iraq. Way bigger, way more people, and way more right-wing. Right? And the Russia thing's not going away. Who does Russia hit next? What are we going to do? Nothing. So I wanted to do a follow-up because I did the other one. I did World War III, nuclear proliferation, but this is the ongoing problem, and it's getting worse. And now when I saw we're asking for $200 billion, I wanted to put a legitimate look into that and how far this is going to go. We all hope for the best. I do not hate against Americans. I do not hate against American soldiers. But as Tim Dillon, who's a comedian and used to be a Trump apologist, says, and he's like all the other Trump apologists that voted for Donald Trump, like Andrew Schultz, like Joe Rogan, like Theo Vaughn, they all said, I can't believe this is what's happening. I'll call them idiots. Because, like I said, anybody that didn't vote for this guy expected the worst. And we might be getting worse than that. So maybe we didn't expect the worst of the worst of the worst. But Tim Dillon's on his pod now, and he's basically saying, this is like some sort of fucking quasi, because Netanyahu and people within our government are quoting the Bible, talking about how these are the things that need to happen based on Islam and based on Christianity. He's like, this isn't a slide to Christian nationalism, authoritarianism. It's going to destroy the economy. It's going to up the top 0.1%. And we're basically destroying the fabric of America and America's place in the world. This is coming from Tim Dillon. Now, I'm not quoting, summary. Coming from all the idiots that said, hey, Sean Hannity's bitching about people look at him in New York City like he moved out of New York City because people hated him. I can't understand why, dude. You're such a great journalist. You never ask any question about anything other than what's been promoted by the Orange Mad King. I get it. You're you're not, again, Republicans and conservatives don't even exist anymore. I know you're MAGA, but you're supposed to, according to Brendan Carr from the FCC, have a even playing field for Democrats and Republicans. You're supposed to be nonpartisan. So I'm glad that Rogan's learning something other than COVID is a conspiracy and that, Churchill's, I'm going to have a conspiracy episode. Theo Vaughn's like, oh my God, people are worried about him. Got Lex Friedman, who you don't hear much from anymore because he told Donald Trump he was one of the greatest deal makers in the world. So the art of the deal now is that we're going to invade Iran. Then we're going to give them an embargo, take their embargo off their oil because we fucked that up. The art of the deal is to take away the embargoes from Russia, beg Ukraine for their weapons, not support them as much as we would like, the way we should. The art of the deal is we're going to blame Colombian leaders that are leftists, charge them with DEA, might go in there. The art of the deal is to tariff the world and send the country into a spiraling stagflation while the president is asking to lower interest rates, which is exactly the opposite of what you do when inflation is going up, especially in a stagflation era. That's the art of the deal, Tim Dillon, Joe Rogan. You didn't get it. You believe the shit. People are like, you're so fucking woke. Well, I'll tell you what. I'd rather be woke than fucking fascist, than Christian nationalist, than authoritarian, than a white supremacist. That's what I'd rather be. So if you want to call me woke, fuck yeah, call me woke. Call me a left, liberal, progressive, woke motherfucker and say everything you want about it. But give me that. Don't give me MAGA. Don't give me Hungary. Don't give me Putin. Don't give me Stephen Miller. So if that's what you want to call me that. Then I'm the wokest motherfucker you've ever run into. All I want is for the best for everybody. Healthcare, God forbid. Education, God forbid. And again, it doesn't all have to be free. But getting rid of it, destroying it. Destruction is not a plan. Just like Iran. We're going to destroy them and they're just going to walk away. See, it wasn't a plan. Iraq, 10 days, wasn't a plan. Get rid of healthcare for all. That's not a plan. I want to give healthcare to people. Okay, we can't pay for everything. So if you want the big one, yeah, we can't pay for all that. If you can afford more than that, then you do like a Medicare Plus, a Medicare Advantage. You don't fucking destroy. Progressivism is not about destruction. It is about change, not for change's sake. Now, I get it. Sometimes that happens. Nobody is perfect, except for the Orange Mad King. He's perfect, according to MAGA. As they got the orange tinted, the Benny Johnsons, the fucking Tucker Carlsons, who are now even bashing Trump on this Iran war. Even Alex Conspiracy Jones, Sandy Hook, bashing him. What the fuck are you doing? What are you getting this into? So you know what? Come at me. Woke motherfucker I am. DEI motherfucker I am. Do there need to be changes? Yes. Does there need to be destruction? No. Buy into MAGA, you're destroyed. Farmers, 50% more bankruptcies last year because of the tariffs. And now, this year, they start off with the invasion in Iran, and now fertilizer prices are going to skyrocket. There you go. Truckers. How you doing, MAGA truckers? Woohoo! God, I'm so woke. So, check it out. Go on YouTube. Go on Spotify. Go out and check out some shit. Go out and read some shit. Pull up some articles. Use that fucking Gemini on Google. Use ChatGPT. Use Claude. I wouldn't suggest using Grok on X, but sure, it's pretty good other than it's anti-woke, which just means oligarchy and fascism. Sure, it's fine. And do some research. Read some fucking books. Listen to some podcasts. Don't just go through the reels and get the 1-minute spiels. Do something. And if on that doing something, you come up with a MAGA methodology, then I fucking disagree with you. I don't hate you. I disagree with you. I hate the Orange Mad King because he's not good for anybody except for his fucking bank account. And he's destroying America while doing that. And if you don't believe that, you're a fucking idiot. And thank you for watching this episode of The Way Left.